I was just gonna say, I don't know if we mentioned this. It's called A Fistful of Dollars because that's what drives Clint Eastwood's character in this movie. He shows up to
Mm-hmm.
this to what is essentially a ghost town. He gets a room at the inn with Silvanito. He gets some food, and he goes, "Hey, I can't pay it, but I will be able to." And then that's when he
Right.
asks Silvanito, "Hey, who's running this town?" And then we get the whole backstory of
Yeah.
the fighting families. And Clint Eastwood's just looking to get paid here, and his want of money just kind of spawns this whole story. And that's the same with the other two movies in the trilogy, in the Dollars trilogy.
Yeah, there's also like an element here where like, yeah, he shows again going like what I love about the Man with No Name as a character, the stranger Joe, whatever you want to call him. He's just like, we have no idea why he's in town. We have no idea what the hell he's doing, but then we find out that he doesn't have any money, so it's like, okay, he's gonna work for these gangs, and then he finds out that, hey, he can get more money by having these gangs fight each other and just kind of using them against each other. But there's also kind of like what really was he doing here in the first place? It almost kind of feels like he already knew about this town and was like planning on doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but like I like to prefer, or like I prefer to think that it was just him riding up to a town, like as a cowboy is wont to do.
Oh, like as a random thing, and that's the I was talking about this. Had this kind of conversation with a couple different people, but I have a good friend of mine from where I got my master's is a big fan of Asian cinema, and a lot of classic westerns are remakes of Japanese samurai films. It's not just this movie and Yojimbo and maybe Django and Yojimbo. But obviously, The Magnificent Seven is a remake of The Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's other examples, but there's like this weird kind of connection with the with between like Japanese samurai and like the Western kind of cowboy kind of thing. And it's weird too because it's like you'd think if there's a Western not in the genre sense, but like Western is like a cultural, like American, English, French, whatever. If there's like a Western cultural connection with the samurai, you'd think it'd be like the medieval knight.
Yeah, you're
right? Because that's what. Except, I guess the real thing, I guess, that ultimately connects the Western and the samurai is the idea of the Ronin, which is something that I can't explain all that well because we'll get into this with Enter the Ninja, but like I'm not an expert on Japanese culture, folks. Sorry to disappoint. But like the Ronin is like this it's the samurai that doesn't serve a lord. He's like an independent kind of thing. And that is there's no, at least that I'm aware of, and again I'm a medievalist, there's not like a big medieval kind of connection there. And then so it's like, okay, I see where you get like the classic Western drifter, in the Old West, the kind of the outlaw thing. I do see the connection there. Yeah, it's just kind of interesting that there's this connection there because Yojimbo follows the classic example of the Ronin kind of thing, and yeah, there's obviously similar movies. This movie is a remake. It's not like a Gus Van Sant Psycho remake or anything, but I mean it's the same story, absolutely. So Jim, what did you think of A Fistful of Dollars?
I hated it. I don't ever want to watch it again. Terrible. No, it was fantastic. Obviously, it's a great movie. As I said at the beginning, it's my favorite of the Dollars trilogy.
I'm glad we're not doing this in person because I might punch you in the face.
Dude, go right ahead. I don't care.
Not that I dislike this movie, but like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is just so good. I mean, come on.
Well, when we talk about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in the future, I will tell you why. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like it more than for a few dollars more, though, for sure. Yeah, this is just fantastic. I love how kind of self-contained this cowboy story is, this Western. It just makes everything so... I don't know, it just makes for such a great story, I think. And Clint Eastwood plays the part of the stranger, a.k.a. Joe, so perfectly.
A.k.a. Blondie. He's Blondie in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which she's not even really blonde. It's like kind of a light-ish brown hair, but not even to the point where I would like say it's light brown. It's just brown. Well, maybe Blondie is kind of just like a gringo. It's just kind of like a generic term for because Tuco's supposed to be Mexican, right? He's played by Eli Wallach, who's this Jewish dude from like the Bronx, I think, or something. But yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah, I just love the story, and the character of the stranger is so awesome. Just everything he does is awesome. He's just such a pleasure and a joy to watch on screen. And every time he flips his poncho to reach for his gun is the coolest thing.
Oh yeah. We didn't even mention what he's wearing. He's got that classic poncho, which I ought to mention too. If we're looking at this as a trilogy, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, if there is any character continuity, or excuse me, if there is any story continuity, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the prequel to this film, because the poncho that he wears throughout the majority of this film, he picks up in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yes.
It's kind of like a little nod there. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot of continuity here. Again, this is the John Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy of spaghetti westerns, but... And it's the John Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy of spaghetti westerns also, because they're freaking good. Like, I mean, the first movie in that trilogy is The Thing, which is the best one. So you're in favor of that, but I disagree. This is not the best one. But it's very good. And there's something I love. Again, I mentioned earlier, I don't generally talk a lot about acting in dubbed films or even in subtitled films, because like really I don't know how good a performance they're doing delivering the line. You can talk about like physical acting and stuff, but that's what I'm going to talk about here, is that Sergio Leone, with his close-ups, a lot of it is, I think he has just really good actors doing it, but like that man can get so much out of a really good close-up on someone's face. Like you just tell so many stories and just emotions from like the look of someone's brow, and we see that here. I mean, we do more of it in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A lot of that is that movie is about an hour longer, or at least certain edits of it are. But I love his use of the close-ups, and then he has those beautiful landscape shots too in this beautiful area, the Tabernas Desert, by these theme parks that I would love to go to. Yeah, I just oh man, I love the style. I love how it's uniquely shot. It's not as unique to me because I've seen other Leone movies, but it's like just it's different from so many westerns, and it's so much more compelling. And even though it's like kind of slow at times, even certain scenes are slow. Like even the final shootout, like the whole thing it's before we actually get to the literal, like when the stranger pulls his gun, it's just he's kind of just walking around and getting shot, and it's that whole thing is very slow. Yeah. But it's incredibly compelling too.
Yeah, and the thing that makes all of these things more... Well, one of the things that makes all these things more compelling or exciting, or, I don't know, whatever, insert emotion here, is the score.
Yes.
The score is just absolutely fantastic in this.
I've mentioned the score a number of times. I don't think we can spend enough. I don't think there's anything we can do talking about it to really do it justice, but this is a fantastic score. Again, Ennio Morricone, he's my favorite composer of all time. Bernard Herrmann's up there, and obviously, no one has done more classic film scores, film themes than John Williams, but he's probably my number 3. But Ennio Morricone is so great. And he's such unique ways, at least in these spaghetti westerns, of like just unique sounds. He does a lot of I mentioned the whistling, but he does these instruments that you don't usually hear in film scores. And it's just interesting and unique. And you just hear that, and you hear just a couple notes of it. And that's like the auditory representation of the Western.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to say it. It just is.
Well, yeah, I mean...
you can see the Western when you hear his music.
Yeah, I think in the score for this, at one point, he uses a wood block.
I believe it.
In one of his beats,
He's got that, he's got, I don't know if it's a piccolo, but he's got, like, a really, really high-pitched kind of instrument that he uses for that thing he does.
Yeah, to call the...
I don't think it is a piccolo, but it's something.
Yeah, well, isn't that the same thing Willy Wonka uses to call the...
Yeah, that's right. Willy Wonka's ripping off Morricone. That's right. Yeah.